Hello? Hello, Mr. Trump? I hope I'm not disturbing you. I'm just calling you to say, on behalf of the American public, Mr. Trump, we no longer care who you date. We really don't. You are no longer obligated to alert the news media every time your pants are on fire because we don't care. So, please feel free to fire your many hacks, flacks, and publicists employed for this purpose because, and I repeat, we don't care. Who am I? Who am I? Well, you've never met me, but you can just call me the Julia.
Are you a leftist creator and feel like you're being censored and restricted no matter what you do and what you say? You're not alone, and here's why. So this is why. Dustin Carmick, Meta Platforms, Director, Public Policy. That name is really familiar. I wonder where I've heard it before. Oh, that's right. He's with the Heritage Foundation. Now, where did I see him involved with the Heritage Foundation? Project frickin' 2025. One of the authors of the section titled Intelligence Community. I wonder why we're being so suppressed on all of these social media platforms. Weird. I have no real solutions here, but I felt like you guys should at least know what's going on, I guess. But this is why you're being suppressed, my friends.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for Conversations with Taz. And we're going to have to rapid fire through this because a lot has happened since we last saw one another. And yeah, the closer we get to this election, it's like the more smarticle particles are just dropping out of people's heads. Starting with the latest gotcha moment from the right. Let's take a look.
Choose a white husband, why can't black men choose a white president?
Kamala chose a white husband. Why can't black men choose a white president?
Well, husbands nowadays are asking for a 50-50 split on everything. So are we supposed to take the president out on a date, bend it over for the president, do all of the housework for the president, and pay 50% of the deficit for the president? Do you see how fucking stupid that sounds? Who you fall in love with has nothing to do with the qualifications of somebody for a job. If you want to vote for someone based solely on their race, congratulations, you're historically accurate. You are not new. You don't have an original thought. You are just doing the status quo. You have 45 white men that were voted into office. If you want to put a 46th in there, go right ahead. But if that is your sole argument or one of your many arguments along the same guys as to why not to vote for the most qualified presidential candidate we've had to date, you're already lost in the sauce. Continue to stay lost there. Now, moving on from there, you all remember the epic man versus bear debate and how so many men got so pissed off about the conversation and were trying to tell women that the bear will kill you before a man would. Oh, you choose it. Because they couldn't take a thought experiment. It seems that they're getting it now.
Would you rather be stuck in a forest with a bear
or a man?
Or Diddy?
No. Yeah. Give me some sticks. I sharpen it into a spear. 1-on-1 with the bear.
You could low-key get away from Diddy and not a bear.
It's better for me to go with a bear than to go with Diddy.
Diddy can just appear though. He has like teleporting powers, so like you think you're running and then you look behind you, Diddy's there.
You'll see like a trail of baby oil just falling.
Yeah. Diddy in my language is ED. ED is ass.
That's what he wants, though.
I don't want that.
I would choose the bear, but like I don't know, he's got a lot of money. Like I don't know, like
I'd rather take my chances with the bear, to tell you the truth. I've seen it in the movie The Revenant. The guy handled the bear, and you should have seen how he's skillful, man. Like I'm sure I could do the same thing too. I've done some stuff, man.
Everyone said, "Oh, pause this, pause that." Now I'm just saying, no, Diddy. I'm scared for my life right now.
Bear's not such a bad choice now, huh? For the men who didn't get it before, and even for the women, and a few non-binary folks that didn't get it before, do you get it now that it was the choice between the Diddy type or the bear? Okay, we're really acting like we were trying to be out there with grit. But since we are still in election season and we still are watching this race to POTUS Mountain, let's check out Trump on Fox. And no, didn't go the way that you might think it did.
In 2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most serious people.
Well, I did do that.
This
and we had tremendous. Look, we had the best economy we've ever had. The world has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against you.
Yeah.
Your Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you. Your former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said he's not supporting you. You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton. He's not supporting you either. You mentioned Attorney General Bill Barr, says you shouldn't be president again, calls you the consummate narcissist and troubled man. You recently called Barr a gutless pig. Your second defense secretary is not supporting you, called you irresponsible. This week, you and your White House called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain. You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock, and your first Defense Secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general. You called your White House Press Secretary, Kayleigh Canadian, milquetoast, and multiple times you've referred to your Transportation Secretary, Elaine Chao, as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife. So, why did you hire all of them in the first place?
But he's fit to serve, and he's not racist. Yep. And after midnight, I turn into a one-eyed, one-horned, flying purple people eater. Absolutely not. But someone who would know was asked about Trump's fitness.
Do you believe former President Donald Trump is fit for office?
I believe that Vice President Harris is fit to lead the country in the presidency.
Well, let's go right to the question of Trump. Is he fit for office or not? You're a former top leader of the United States military. You're supporting a presidential candidate. You have a former president now running for the presidency again. You seem to have core character questions. Is he fit for office or not?
Hey, Bob, let's be honest. Why would a retired military officer come on to endorse his opponent?
You tell me.
Because I think character is very important. And so I'm voting for character. I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
My guy, you've been to war. You've already survived Trump. Just tell the truth. Just answer the question. All of this sidestepping is exhausting. And the sidestepping is why, and this comes from foxnews.com, things like this can stand. Because we're all familiar at this point with Trump's McDonald's stunt. He is now selling MAGADonald's merch. He does warn that the t-shirts won't be there before election day, but McDonald's, come on, do better. Y'all are usually big like Disney on protecting your logo and everything. So get that taken down. But regarding that stunt, Like I said, this comes from foxnews.com. Now, Fox News on the air and foxnews.com can vary a little bit. There are times where foxnews.com is very accurate in their reporting, and then sometimes it's a bunch of fluff and stuff. But I want you to hear this. Woman served by Trump at McDonald's drive-thru reveals details behind viral exchange with former president. Now, people have already come out, said that it was staged, showed how it was staged, well, let's continue. A Pennsylvania mom who was served by former President Trump at McDonald's discussed the one request she asked of the former president when he surprised her at the drive-thru window on Sunday. There was no surprise. They had rehearsed. There's pictures and there are videos of them lining up and rehearsing. But Trump cooked and served French fries to customers at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania while accusing his 2024 opponent, Vice President Kamala Harris, of lying about once working at the fast food restaurant. He didn't work at the fast food restaurant, and that stunt was unnecessary. He could have gone there, given away food, talked about raising the minimum wage, talked about the economy, but he didn't. And mind you, did anybody else catch that French fries was the only thing that was being served while he was picking up a shift? Now, do I know individual people who will go to McDonald's just to purchase French fries? Absolutely. Do I believe that every car in line at a McDonald's drive-thru would be doing that? No. Do I believe that only the drive-thru would be working and nobody would be at the front registers taking orders when it's open? Absolutely not. A clip of Nayara, I hope I'm saying this right, and Drachik pulling up to the drive-thru window where Trump waited with her order went viral, with online users highlighting a remark she made to the former president during their brief interaction. Also, keep in mind, these were people who were vetted. They were told what they could and couldn't say, like basically a script. She said, and I quote, "Mr. President, please don't let the U.S. become Brazil. My native Brazil, please," she pleaded. "We're going to make it better than ever, okay?" Trump said, shaking her hand while continuing to greet the crowd through the drive-thru window. Now, if you saw the pictures, I don't know what the fuck crowd they're talking about. Because even the videos of the crowd, they didn't seem to be at the same location, but I could be wrong. The Pennsylvania resident who moved to the U.S. from Brazil 26 years ago was asked about the remark in an interview on The Story Monday. "My parents were victims of Brazilian corruption, government corruption," she told anchor Martha McCallum. "My mom lost a pretty successful business almost 30 years ago, and that's the reason why we moved to the United States." So you've been here all this time, through all these presidencies, and you saw what Trump did. Definitely a talking point moment. "Mr. President, please don't let the United States become Brazil. I'm very grateful for this country. I love this country," she continued, "and I don't want to see the country become the corrupt sewage that Brazil is at the moment, where politicians do whatever they want with no accountability to the people." And Trump's your guy? She said she was asked to attend a Trump campaign. Pay attention. She said she was asked to attend a Trump campaign event, but was not aware that the former president would actually be working at the drive-thru window when she started hearing excitement in the car in front of her. If you knew it was a Trump campaign event, you didn't ask why the fuck you needed to be in the drive-thru? Yeah, after 26 years. But if look, I've worked campaign events, I've covered campaign events, I've notably scooped other, news outlets at campaign events. If there is a campaign event at a restaurant, you're not going through the drive-thru. There's no shock. And she slipped up. And they let her slip up. I'm surprised that they put it in this article, but okay. She goes on, there was no stunt over there. Of course, we knew something was up because of the level of security, she said, but it was a great surprise to see him there. He's a very charismatic person and very relatable. She said her short interaction with Trump felt like meeting a friend. If I tell you I'm hosting an event where we're supposed to, interact with one another, and you get to the location and somebody tells you not to get out of your car and to go through the fucking drive-through, what do you think is going to happen? I don't know. Maybe I'm the slow one. I got to be the slow one. I don't know. But it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't just stop there. Real quick, just to break things up. MAGA says that they're not weird. Take a look at these two videos.
I'm not saying a word. I am not saying anything.
Fact is that she literally said, don't bring it up. And you pre-planned to bring a MAGA hat to her wedding. And then you wonder why people are like, oh, Donald Trump's followers are like such cult-like. They have such cult-like behavior. Because why would you bring this man up at your daughter's wedding? Like, mind you, we're here for our wedding and you're on the mic. This is your time.
I'm not even finding it. Now this is a first for the show because the next two videos I'm going to play back to back, and I'm going to play them for a reason. The first is a rant from a Trump supporter. The second is a perfect response regarding the rant from the Trump supporter. I know we normally don't do that, switching it up, but here we go.
Trump is the closest thing to God.
Trump is the closest thing to God, really?
Absolutely, absolutely. He's what's gonna fix this nation. This nation's corrupt. We're all split. America used to be all together. Yeah. Now we're all split up. Why? We need to come back together. The only person who's gonna mold us is God first, and then Trump.
God, then Trump.
God, then Trump, absolutely. But if God's not there, Trump's not gonna come out. I'll say that. Kamala comes out, Satan's out, and you better be scared.
So you believe that Trump is picked by God?
I believe so. I believe that Trump is blessed by God. I believe that Trump has come from blessed parents. His parents worked for what they had. His parents made him, molded him to become the person that he is.
But so Trump is selling Bibles for $60. Okay. Is that he's profiting off of selling Bibles? Is that a godly thing to do?
Is it a godly thing for the Democrats to be okay with killing their babies? Is that okay?
I guess you answered my question with another question. Okay. Just answer this question. Is it a godly thing to do for Trump to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a business. He's a businessman. That's what this country needs. What do we need?
And if the business is selling the Bible, that's okay?
That's perfectly fine. What are churches doing? When you go to church, don't they ask you for $1? Don't they ask you to do this and that? Churches are businesses. This whole country's a business.
Christian nationalists have taken Trump as their new Christ because he's everything the first one was not. Jesus was poor. Trump is rich. Jesus was meek. Trump is a bully. Jesus lost. And Trump is obsessed with winning. I honestly think that if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance met Jesus today, they would ridicule him as a single, childless hippie. And in fact, Donald Trump Jr. explicitly rejected Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. He said, turning the other cheek has, quote, gotten us nothing. How did we get to the point where loving your enemy is weak and loving your neighbor is woke. I mean, they are literally rejecting the central teachings of Jesus because those teachings don't serve their own self-interest. Christian nationalism is not about the way of Jesus. It's about the pursuit of power.
Because at the end of her little rant, what did she say? Everything was a business. It was okay to sell religion because it's a business. It's okay. It is okay. But as unhinged as she was, buckle up. There's going to be two back-to-back regarding a Trump supporter actually agreeing to a debate. Here we go.
Do you think it'd be fair for me to say that all the food in your fridge is spoiled?
No.
No. And it wouldn't be fair for me to say that because I just met you. I don't know your address. I've never been inside your house.
No. I see. We're coming at this from two different approaches. You're saying all these things. I'm saying from someone who actually.
Yo, by the way, how did we get into the most serious topic?
I know. I'm saying this is gonna be a different approach for the whole thing. I'm coming at as someone who chooses. I don't want to know anything about the case. It doesn't matter to me.
So willful ignorance, right?
So I'm literally coming at from perspective. So I'm like, okay, so this, with the amount of beautiful women this man's been around his whole life, this one who is unattractive, an insane feminist, had painted of feminist ideas on her thing in the cabin, and now it's coming out this much later with a justice system that is weaponized against him. And then on top of that, oh, she's doing it while he's president. Actually, I disagree with you. I think it's the opposite. I think horrible things happen to women every day. I know, I've experienced it. And I think doing this, what she's doing, is actually f***ed up, and it's f***ed up for women. I don't think what he's doing is f***ed up.
So based off what she was kind of saying, do you think that, we're talking about 23 years ago, right? And this is just a honest question. Do you think that timing, how effective is timing? If someone's doing really well, a lot of the times you see that's when the case happens, right?
Sure.
That's when they want to come challenge that.
So I'll respond to that, and I'd also like to address some of the things that she just said.
We have a lot to get to.
We have a lot to get to.
But you go ahead.
Yeah, the timing's fucking impeccable with these
So
things.
here's my thing about that. First of all, if you're gonna make the claim that she was doing it for money, right? I feel like then she would have came out earlier when she was younger.
How much money is she getting rewarded? What was it?
It was $87 million.
87
million?
Yeah.
87
but do you mind if I
million
finish that thought real
for
quick?
something that never happened.
But I'd like to finish my thought there real quick.
Unbelievable.
And then, so here's my take. Even if I was to sit here and accept the fact that a reason why she brought these allegations to the public's attention was because he was our president running for re-election, I don't think that changes a damn thing. In fact, I would say that she did the American people quite well by informing the voter base.
We're going to get to the second video here in just a second. Just want to intervene really quickly. But did you notice how she said she doesn't want to know anything about the case, then started speaking on the case from a perspective of willful ignorance? She also equated that, hey, I know horrible things happen to women every day. It's happened to me, but equated rape to attractiveness. Well, let's continue.
Rescinding the right to get an abortion back to the state, leading like
I think it should be state
65,000
by state.
victims of sexual abuse. Okay, why?
That's fine. I think if everyone in a state wants something, go ahead and have it.
So if everyone in Alabama wanted slavery back, you'd be okay with that?
Sure. If everyone in the state wants it, go ahead. What do I give a shit?
All right. Well, let's go next topic. I'm getting nervous.
I just want to clarify.
Yeah.
You understand that that was the same argument that the Confederacy upheld, right? So do you wish that the Confederacy won the war because according to your worldview, the Union impeded upon the state's ability to legislate?
No, but it's an irrelevant argument.
No, so you're glad that the Union won?
Like, I'm not some, like, psychopath. Like, I live in LA. I'm not some crazy right-wing person.
So now you're saying it's psychotic to say that...
But if everyone in the state wants something, sure, let them have it.
You agree with the Confederacy?
No.
But the Articles of the Confederation...
All right, we have to move on. We got limited time here.
These gotcha moments don't work on me. I'm not a... Like,
okay,
it's
Emma,
not
don't get upset.
Okay.
Don't get upset.
And there you have it. There you have it. When pressure is applied, the truth comes out. It spills out like pushing the tube of toothpaste from the bottom all the way to the top. She doesn't care if slavery is reinstated because it doesn't affect her. but then says, no, I don't agree with the Confederacy. Absolutely, you do. Absolutely, you do. You just don't want to admit adjacency to the Confederacy, but you're admitting adjacency to their doctrine. This is why they constantly say it's not hate, it's heritage. They don't want to say, hey, I guzzle the glizzy of the Confederacy, when we know that they do, because they spew all of the doctrine. Every bit of it. Oh no, it's not a rumor. The Trump administration is now claiming that labor unions, in the UK are interfered in the 2020 election. Now, this next set of videos, it's 100% hate. Okay. Corey Holcomb, a comedian, I'm using that word very loosely, sat down and did an interview with Cam Newton. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 clips from the interview. At this moment, I'm going to reserve those clips for Thursday. Just because, one, I'm not a man, I am not a black man. I don't want to be accused of not seeing things from a black man's point of view, because there are a shit ton of black men agreeing with Corey Holcomb. I do not agree. I personally don't know any black men that agree with what he has said. So what I'm going to do is he absolutely is a thug with the mic. I completely agree. So what I'm going to do, there are some black men I'm going to talk to see if they will have the time and if they are willing to come onto the podcast and discuss the clips. Because the last time, just a man said some things controversially, especially geared towards women, and I addressed it. I was accused of intentionally being one-sided to make all men look bad when I addressed just that man that said something problematic. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to do. Just for the sake of fairness and full transparency. And then if anybody has any questions, there will be black men available for the question to be asked directly to. So there's that. Now we do have some Totsville updates. So I'm just gonna let them roll.
Hey, my little tater tots. Good morning. What's on the agenda, you asked? I'm going to tell you. So today we're going to focus on all the love, the joy, our family, our friends, and all the excitement in our life, because good people like me and you have that. And we don't have to go around and hurt other people just because we're just sad and angry. Okay? So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm so excited because my very short and husband and handsome man is coming home tomorrow, and y'all need to know what I'm going to do after that. So I'm going to focus on that. And just so y'all know, the amount of witches in my inbox willing to put a spell on this heifer is blowing my mind, and I love them, and I love that. But anyway, I thought I'd tell you that. So we're just going to sit back and let the Lord, the universe, and the witches take care of this heifer on their own, okay? Because clearly she don't know she messed with the wrong bitch, okay? Y'all have a good day.
Now, I chose to start off with that one because remember, she said she didn't know how to defend herself. She's just all about love and light.
Been all the way down that Mama Tot rabbit hole, and I think I found the rabbit. Stay tuned for the receipts. This video is not intended to bully anyone. It's for educational purposes only. Ophelia is an influencer who plays the role of Mama Tot on TikTok. I used to be friends with her, so I think I know her a little bit better than most of you. She dragged me into a whole lot of her dramas. This drama is of her own making. Thanks to a friend, I believe I found the original video that actually inspired her whole rant about Hurricane Helene. Her video was inspired by a creator called Yeehaw Jace. She actually reposted his video, and to find out, you can go to her channel, tap on reposts, and scroll through the reposts until you find one that says 6 Days of Hell in WNC. To save you some time, I've taken the liberty of screen recording this whole process, and I'm giving you back-to-back comparisons of what he said and what she said.
Just can't help but, I literally am just crying for my people, and like, how could the government do us like this? Where is our government? Where's the fucking president? Where is that bitch? And I'm so fucking mad.
You ain't mad. Cause I'm mad as hell.
I just want to scream at somebody.
You know that mad that you just get so angry that you just cry about it? You're so mad you just cry about it. That's how mad I am.
It's so fucking ridiculous.
If you've watched this far, I have a question for you. Do you ever repost a video that you don't agree with? Would you ever repost a video of someone calling Kamala Harris the B word? I sure as hell wouldn't. There's a content creator trick that everybody uses. I call it piggybacking. It's when you find a smaller creator with a video that's going viral, and you, as a larger creator, may be able to repeat that video and go viral yourself. And it's a great way to get views. Her original video pissed off the Democrats. Her follow-up apologies ended up pissing off the Republicans. She's straddling the fence, and it's giving off pick-me vibes to both sides. As her former friend, I've noticed a few patterns with her. One of them being that whenever she's in the middle of a drama, she pulls out the feel sorry for me, get out of jail free card. She befriended a young man with a brain injury and an autistic lady who struggles with mental health issues. She also befriended and platformed a lady who's now accused of taking over $100,000 in donations that was meant for DV victims. And I thought I was a bad judge of character. She has a history of throwing her friends under the bus, so you Democrats and Republicans shouldn't be surprised at all. In my case, she unfriended me via TikTok video without warning. And she took the side of a man who equates adoption to slavery, calls me a baby buyer, falsely accused me of doxing him, and made fun of my adopted sons.
Now, yes, absolutely cannot stand the Chazinator. He's extremely problematic. Now, only reason I included him in this is because when the leopards want to eat each other, I'm going to let them. When the trash is going to take the trash out, I'm going to let them. And what always happens in these problematic friend circles is that as soon as somebody gets pissed off or they fall out, all the truth comes to the light, because all of these little friend circles, they're constantly keeping dossiers on each other. Constantly. But remember, in her apology, she didn't know nothing. Here we go.
At that time, I was not aware of any FEMA help or on the way or had been there. I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything about that. I'm just one of those people who get pissed off when I have to see people suffer, you know? But I didn't know anything about it. And it's very frustrating that people took that video and they actually lied on me. They actually said they heard me say that FEMA and the government weren't doing enough. And I never thought that I would ever have to say that I didn't vote for Trump. I thought people just knew that by my actions.
Hey, y'all. I'm going to try to do this quickly. The Mama Tot drama keeps coming. Listen, I'm just the messenger. Okay, this messenger is going to ask that you please go follow Yeehaw Jace. I will tag him. Listen, I found him randomly at 3 o'clock in the morning because his mother had sent him on a Facebook Marketplace drop-off, and he thought he was going to die, and it cracked me the fuck up. Like, it was exactly what I needed at 3 o'clock in the morning as I'm trying to grieve the own deaths of my family members. He just made me laugh until I cried, man. It was amazing and it was beautiful. And his content is just pure genius. His content is sheer genius. I love this dude. Okay, so Mama Tot is blaming Jace for her downfall. That's fucked up. No, bitch, no. No. You need to hold yourself accountable, okay?
Oh my fucking God! The tea is hot and hot, okay? Horrible analogy, don't get me. Chaz, the one who is, we are protecting, we're not backing down, okay? Just released a response video to Mama Tot's response to him, right? But really, it was a comment, right, that said, you know, her tots are coming. They saw her and they're coming. And Chaz came back. But not only did he come back, he came back with receipts. Receipts. I said I was going to keep posting the victims and their stories. And we're not backing down. We're not going anywhere. Educational purposes only, not intended for harass and bullying.
Are allowed to rant, including me. What's your point? And don't be trying to shame me for recording anything. She recorded that herself. Here, just listen to this.
I had to hit record, honey. I meant that shit.
As for judge not lest ye be judged, I don't believe in your Bible. Judge yourself. I'm talking about a person who has turned her grief into grift. A person who throws LGBT people under the bus. A person who can call her father-in-law the patriarch of her family, but can't call him out when he says shit like this. Listen.
They don't deserve no rights. That's the way I look at it. You got more queers and idiots on TV now, and people worship them. It's because the Democrats shoving it down our throats like they shoved the gay crap down our throats.
He also called Obama the N-word. I have a video of that too. When is she going to call him out? For all you LGBT people buying t-shirts and merch off of her channel, guess who made that? A transphobe. That's right. Her sister doesn't like you at all. I don't speak for everybody, just myself. But I can tell you that anybody who disrespects me has not earned my respect. And they sure as hell shouldn't expect any. So do yourself a favor and sip it or dip it. Cause I'm done. Y'all need to stop putting normal-ass people up on a platform and making them sound bigger than they are. She worked at a furniture store. I used to work at a gas station. Trust me, we're just normal people out here doing normal stuff. None of us is famous, and none of us are celebrities. And if you think I'm clout-seeking, I don't want it, I don't need it, and you can keep it. This app is on its last leg. For the record, I don't get paid for views on TikTok, and I'm not a grifter. You have yourself a wonderful day now. You hear? Was that accent southern enough for you?
This ain't gonna cut it today because I'm tired of this. So I'm at the racetrack with my husband having a great day, and I get an alarm from my girlfriend Lissa over this. This person who I've never seen before in my life leaves this comment. Guess you are going to ignore 200 of your followers tagging you in my video asking for help. Didn't realize you picked and choose who you helped. Lissa replies with this. First of all, she cannot see everything she has mentioned. Secondly, she does not share GoFundMe because it is not fair to choose one from not the other. Don't come up in her comments acting crazy. She didn't see your video. And I didn't. I've never seen you before in my life. Ever. I don't even know what video you are talking about. Period. I am so tired of people.
She seemed pretty able to defend herself then. And her baby son's funeral was not paid for by her or the GoFundMes. Now moving on. Because and I don't knock anybody for monetizing their platforms. Do what you got to do. There's a lot that goes into putting on podcasts. Nothing is free. Recoup your money, make a profit, do whatever. I do, however, have a problem with consistently becoming how people profit. And I'm not saying me personally. Black women. Take a listen.
I'm gonna say something kind of wild, but it's because I saw it somewhere. But I don't know if we might have to cut it out. But anyways, someone said that the reason why some girls' vagina is tighter than others is because, huh? No. It has nothing to do with that. They said that it's because, like, ethnicity-wise, like black men have, are known to have larger dicks, so therefore the women have
that makes sense.
Bigger holes.
No, that doesn't make sense at all. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Race science. And isn't it amazing that every time they pull this shit to commodify off of black women, it's always, maybe we should cut this out. Maybe we'll have to cut this out. And it never gets cut out. They'll give a full apology. They'll welcome in the amount of racist, fetishizing subscribers they can get. And they'll cackle to the bank because in their mind, this doesn't affect them. You're of Asian descent. You're of Asian descent, and you just brought up racialized science. Let the countdown begin to when the lepers eat their face. Because when we continuously tell you that the snare of racism will catch you too, you never want to believe it. Because there are a lot of people that are like, oh, that's just pick me behavior. That is worse than pick me behavior. And she doesn't realize she just set herself up to be highly fetishized by racist people who will now feel ownership over her because they're going to pay to watch her and for her to continue to spew the stuff that she's saying. And they are going to let all of their fetishized fantasies fly willy-nilly, no filter. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. Absolutely not. And if you have to go to racism or dog out another woman in order to get anybody's attention, I do not care who you are attracted to. Baby, that ain't the person for you. Because it has to be exhausting to spend all of your time trying to convince somebody else that not only are you better than this woman or that woman that you think that they have their eye on, but that you're constantly better than entire demographics of women because of racism. Oh, hell no. Absolutely. Absolutely not. Get somebody else to do it. Get somebody else to do it. If you are the greatest out there, and personally, I believe you are the greatest you that there could be. Can't nobody compete with you because there's only one you. That's it. You are the greatest. Carry yourself as you are the greatest. But the greatest out there don't have commercials, don't have advertisements. They're not sending out coupons. They're not discussing other companies. They're just out there being great. Now, we know for the longest time, people were complaining about Madam Vice President Harris not taking interviews with traditional media, although Trump wasn't really taking a whole lot of interviews with traditional media and doing the podcast thing. And she was really just getting to know people and getting, the one-on-one at the rally, sitting down and talking with small groups, talking to people, which I think is more apropos. That's how we started. And side note, this election cycle has officially become the most expensive election cycle within United States history. More money has been raised and spent in this election cycle. Crazy. But here are two snippets from two different interviews that I think truly sum things up. You let me know what you think.
Why is half the country supporting him? Why is he beating you in a lot of swing states? Why, if he's as bad as you say, that half of this country is now supporting this person who could be the 47th president of the United States? Why is that happening?
This is an election for president of the United States. It's not supposed to be easy.
I know, but
It's not supposed to be. It is not supposed to be a
so
cakewalk
are they misguided, the 50%?
Listen,
Are they stupid? What is
God,
it?
I would never say that about the American people. And in fact, if you listen to Donald Trump, if you watch any of his rallies, he's the one who tends to demean and belittle and diminish the American people. He's the one who talks about an enemy within, an enemy within, talking about the American people, suggesting he would turn the American military on the American people.
How are you? Because you did just walk in. You was kind of late, so.
Well, I try to be on time.
Well,
Apparently, I'm 40 seconds late. You're right.
well, you are black, so okay. Now, now one thing they've been saying, a lot of your press hits get criticized. Folks say you come off as very scripted. They say you like to stick to your talking points, and some media says you have.
That would be called discipline.
Oh, okay. Speak to that.
But go on.
No, I was going to say some people say you have an inability to fearlessly say who you are and what you believe. I know that's not true. But what do you say to that criticism? And is it fair for SNL to make fun of it?
Hasn't Maya Rudolph been wonderful?
Yes.
I think I have nothing but admiration for the comedy, and I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself and each other.
But what do you say to people who say
in the spirit of obviously comedy and
Yes.
not belittling people as my opponent would do?
But what do you say to people who say you stay on the talking points?
I would say you're welcome.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, here's the thing. I love having conversations, which is why I'm so happy to be with you this afternoon. And the reality is that there are certain things that must be repeated to ensure that I have everyone know what I stand for and the issues that I think are at stake in this election.
Mm-hmm.
And so it requires repetition. Some people say that until someone has heard the same thing at least 3 times, it just doesn't stay with you. So repetition is important. And for that reason, yes, at my rallies, I say the same thing when I go to Detroit as I do in Philly, as I do wherever I am, to make sure that people hear and receive what I think are some of the most critical issues that are at stake in this election.
There has to be a high level of anxiety, too, when you have these conversations, though, because you are running for president.
I mean, you know what? There's certainly a lot of, I feel the weight of the moment and my role. I feel an extraordinary weight of responsibility right now to do everything I can. I'm telling you, Charlamagne, when I go to bed at night, I almost every night, in addition to my prayers, will ask, have I done everything I could do today? This is a margin of error race. It's tight. I'm going to win. I'm going to win. But it's tight.
Now let's start with Fox. During that interview with Fox, there were a number of times that the journalist cut her off, interrupted, she held her ground. With Charlamagne, both instances, she got tougher questions and sort of pushed to try to give her opponent a gotcha moment, a soundbite against her, as opposed to the candidate who was previously president. I got a slight tinge of irritation with the question regarding her sticking to talking points and the repetition. It's no different than an artist going on tour. Whether it's a visual artist, a music artist, or whatever, they have things set for the different cities because each city you're talking to a new group of people. Trump doesn't have to really repeat because it's already been confirmed to us that it's generally the same group of people traveling around the country following him for these rallies. You all wanted to hear her platform. She's giving you the platform. Each city that she goes to, she needs to say the platform. She needs to tell you what she plans to do. Did you want her to just say, you know what, I'm going to go to this city in Wisconsin. I'm going to tell them what I'm going to do. And then in the next city, I'm just kiki and laugh with them. In the next city, I'm going to mix it up a little bit. How are the people supposed to know? We already know each state is like a different sibling. I cannot. Now, we also know that during this race to POTUS Mountain, there are a number of things that are being placed on Madam Vice President Harris's back. There are a lot of people blaming her for all the woes that they possibly can to try to tank the election. I do not know what they foresee themselves getting out of it. It perplexes me, just like the people who lied during the height of COVID-19. As they lost friends and family members, not like, oh, they got ghosted or people went no contact with them. People went eternally contactless with them because they died. But they held fast to the lies. So I want you to take a look at what I'm calling the accountability shift. The first video is a great creator who is responding. The second video will be the original video. And then after that, I'll have an article to share with you all.
So right now, I'm about to drive my wife to a federal facility she has to surrender herself there. And this is due to the Harris-Biden administration.
Bevelyn, you and your husband can have several seats or several glasses of shut the fuck up, because sis, you're going to jail. You're going to jail. You're going to jail. No, wait. You're going to prison. Kamala Harris is going to make my husband a single father. No, baby. You made your husband a single father when you broke the law. You over here talking about how you're willing to go to jail. You was screaming how you was willing to go to fucking jail based off of this motherfucking testimony here. You talking about how you was ready to even cause violence and invoke violence on people who are trying to have access to an abortion. You can't stop somebody from not wanting to be a mother, because you're not going to be a mother much longer. You're going to have to parent from prison. Okay, you're going to be talking from behind the glass, talking about, Billy, listen to your father. You should have listened to the damn law, because nobody's above the law, including your motherfucking self, okay? We do not give a fuck. We do not feel bad for you, sis. You are not like us.
So right now, I'm about to drive my wife to a federal facility she has to surrender herself there. And this is due to the Harris-Biden administration. And any husband in this country, you know, anyone that's married knows, any mother, any father knows that a separation from your loved one, a separation from a mother and a daughter at 2 years old is traumatic, and no American citizen should have to experience this in this country. Obama has the audacity to speak to black men and tell black men they need to vote for Kamala Harris, when Kamala Harris administration is separating me from my wife and my wife from her daughter at 2 years old for unlawful assembly. My wife is facing 3.5 years for unlawful assembly and federal time, y'all. Okay, federal time. And it's devastating for our family, but we're gonna get through this. But I want people to know in this country, mothers, fathers, single mothers, that this cannot be tolerated, and you should not vote for Kamala, because voting for Kamala would do things like this, right? It's unacceptable, and yeah, that's what I have to say. That's what I have to say regarding that. The Biden-Harris administration made me a single father. You know, I always envisioned growing up to be married and have my child, and that's what we did. We did things the right way. Even if you don't do things the right way, you don't make a father a single father. You know, you don't do things like that. And for the fact that Obama is going to go lecture black men and tell black men they need to vote for Kamala Harris, and this is what she's doing to black families in this country. She's been doing this even in California, if you look at her record. So Americans, go out and vote, but I encourage y'all, I implore y'all to vote for number 45, Donald Trump.
Google. Mommy gonna miss you. I love you so much. I love you, pretty girl. And I love you too, baby. Too sweet.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. But Kamala Harris is no longer a prosecutor. And Kamala Harris wasn't a prosecutor in the state of Tennessee. But, let's make sure you have that grift together. Also, y'all aren't getting divorced. You're not a single father. You just became the primary parent. That's not how any of that works. But, they do it on purpose. They mispronounce her name on purpose. But here is the article from the DOJ. From the DOJ's website, justice.gov. Okay. Tennessee woman sentenced to 41 months. Where he got 3.5 years? I don't know. Okay. 41 months in prison for violating the Freedom of Access to Clinics Entrances Act. Damian Williams, the United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York, announced today that Bevelyn Beatty Williams was sentenced to 41 months in prison for violating the Freedom of Access to Clinics Entrances Act, the FACE Act, in June 2020 in connection with her interference, including by threats and force, with individuals seeking to obtain and provide lawful reproductive health services at a reproductive health center in Manhattan. On February 22nd, 2024, Williams was convicted after a 9-day jury trial. See how they didn't note anything about the jury? So your peers looked at the evidence and said, "You guilty, girl." A 9-day jury trial of one count of violating the FACE Act before U.S. District Judge Jennifer L. Rochon, who imposed today's sentence. U.S. Attorney Damian Williams said Bevelyn Beatty Williams repeatedly intimidated and interfered with individuals seeking and providing critical reproductive health services. She did so by physically blocking access to clinics, threatening staff, and by force. This office and our law enforcement partners are committed to ensuring that patients exercising their legal right to obtain reproductive health services in healthcare facilities and their staff providing those services can do so without unlawful interference or fear of threats or violence. According to evidence admitted at trial and other public filings and statements made in court, on June 19, 2020 and June 20th, 2020, Williams threatened and used force against patients and staff members at a reproductive health center located in Lower Manhattan, a place called the Health Center, and blocked patients and staff members from accessing the health center. In one instance, and as captured on video, Williams pressed her body against the door of the health center's patient entrance and refused to move, preventing a health center volunteer from entering the health center. As a health center staff member, victim 1 attempted to open the door for the volunteer, Williams purposely leaned against the door, crushing, let me repeat, crushing victim 1's hand. Victim 1 yelled, "She's crushing my hand," but Williams remained against the door, trapping victim 1's hand and injuring it. Did the Biden-Harris administration come down and tell her to do that? At various times on June 19th and 20th, 2020, Williams stood directly in front of the health center entrances. Williams initially blocked the main entrance used by patients, causing the health center to have to divert patients to enter through the staff entrance. Williams responded by moving to block the staff entrance and directing others to do the same. Williams live streamed, aka provided the evidence against her, some of her conduct on June 19th and 20th, 2020 on a social media account. On the live stream on June 20th, 2020, Williams stood within inches of the health center's chief administrative officer and threatened to, and I quote, terrorize this place, and warned that, and I quote, We're going to terrorize you so good, your business is going to be over, mama. Similarly, Williams stood within inches of a health center security officer and threatened war. Williams also stated that she would act by any means necessary. In addition to Williams's conduct in Manhattan on multiple other occasions from at least 2019 to 2022, Williams and others intimidated and interfered with individuals seeking to obtain or provide reproductive health services at other health clinics across the country, including in Florida, Tennessee, Georgia, and Brooklyn, New York. For example, in January 2022, Williams traveled to a health center in Fort Myers, Florida, where she directed other individuals to block health center entrances. As a result of blockades, medical staff was delayed in treating at least a dozen patients, 3 of whom were scheduled for time-sensitive procedures that could have resulted in bleeding, infection, or significant pain without timely treatment. In addition, in July 2022, Williams invaded a health center in Atlanta, Georgia, where she screamed through the door at patients attempting to enter the facility until they were forced to leave. Among other things, Williams shouted that she'd go to jail before letting patients enter the facility for an abortion and that she was not afraid to get arrested. Well, it seems like you're afraid to go to damn prison. Now, this woman has also stated publicly that her business was an idea given to her by God, that she didn't originally put it on the internet because she didn't want to commodify her preaching, her doctrine, her ministry. She said that God put it on her heart to do these things. Hear me and hear me clearly. And I mean clearly. Just because you have no other way to be noticed and you want to do heinous things to other people, do not weaponize religion. I do not care what religion it is. Too many of y'all are not called by any God. You called yourself. You spoke to yourself. At no point did God tell you to take up his position, his scope, and execute it how you feel necessary. Now, give me a minute here, okay? At no point is hate a part of the equation. Too many of y'all are studying the secular world and not studying the doctrine that you claim to hold so near and dear. You are not studied to the approval of thine God. This is why you believe that your blessings are only financial or a gain in popularity. Because if the only thing you can do is pat yourself on the back and yield God as a weapon towards your fellow man, I'm going to need you to have several seats and we need to disconnect that phone line. Because Jesus ain't the one on the main line. I don't know who you're calling, but it ain't him. You're supposed to be out here being your brother's keeper, not your brother's deceiver. I think some of y'all need to be treated like the OG ministers, and that you must rely on the goodness and the charitableness of your congregation. Because if you are not a proper shepherd, thy will be starved out. Now, my apologies. Sorry, I got a little hot underneath the collar. Let me step down from the pulpit. Let us continue. My bad. My bad. Sometimes the preacher does just pop out, just pops out of you, girl. It's okay. Now, as we close this down, I want you to take your right and your ability to cast your vote seriously. There is a part of society that is often forgotten about and very rarely talked about, and that is the portion that contains women that have been forbidden to vote. Before you go, Taz, it is 2024. You cannot forbid a woman to vote. You absolutely can. I can't even tell you how many child brides have never cast a vote. And I say this because I want you to pay attention to this next clip. It's a short one, but it's a powerful one.
I'm 81 today, but Sunday I'll be 82.
Betty Cartledge has seen a lot in her 81 years, but she's never seen the inside of a voting booth. Well, that was until Wednesday afternoon.
I'm in the vote for the first time in my life.
Betty, with the help of her niece Wanda, voted for the very first time at this polling location in Covington. She says she never voted before because her husband didn't think she should. Last year, her husband died. This year, Betty voted.
I was so young and everything when we got married. I didn't ever think about it. And then when I got old, I still didn't think about it. It would count.
What did I tell you about the child brides? What did I tell you about the child brides? And she thought it wouldn't count. Who do you think told her that her vote wouldn't count? This woman, it is now Tuesday, so she is a fresh, crisp 82. And I don't know, Miss Mamas, if you will ever see this, but if you do, happy birthday. And congratulations for casting your vote. As always, thank you all for joining me here. Make sure you get into some good trouble, some great trouble, some wonderful trouble. And as always, each one teach one, each one preach one. And I'm going to leave you with this regarding the upcoming Met Gala.
The Met Gala is trying to change its reputation as a symbol of white privilege. Let's get into it. The Met just announced its 2025 theme, Superfine Tailoring Black Style. It'll focus on the history of Black dandyism, which has historically been a tool of self-expression and political defiance for Black men in particular. Black men are often judged by the way they're dressed. Trayvon Martin, for example, was shot by George Zimmerman for looking suspicious while wearing a hoodie. Even the exhibit's name, Superfine, is taken from a page of the memoir of a formerly enslaved man who bought his own freedom. He wrote that he planned to celebrate by wearing a suit of superfine clothes. The exhibit will start with 18th century Europe during the Atlantic slave trade, when Black men were dressed to reflect the wealth of their enslavers. It'll follow dandyism through the present day. This is the Met's first fashion exhibit to focus solely on the work of designers of color. The curator in charge, Andrew Bolton, says the show is another step in the Costume Institute's efforts to address its shortcomings in diversity and inclusion. Dandyism has a rich history, so some people are really excited about this and they hope that the gala will do it justice, but others are already doubting how some celebrities and designers will interpret the theme. We'll see how this all holds up in May 2025.